Hello, Brad Smith from The Way. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, enjoying their week. Hope the Lord is blessing you this week. Hey, I'm going to start with a statement that's moderately, might be inflammatory, perhaps, maybe, I don't know. But here it is, as the teaching out of The Way. I don't care if you ever go on a short-term mission trip. I don't care if you serve in the nursery. I don't care if you teach Sunday school. I don't care if you sing on the praise team. Make disciples of your children. Make disciples of your children. This is the primary call of the believer. There would be a global revolution if the believers of the world would commit to making disciples of their own children. Now again, I care about the other things. I want you to serve. I want you to sing in the praise team and serve in the nursery. I want you to do all these things. But as far as in terms of usefulness to the kingdom, all of those things pale in comparison to making disciples of our children. Toward the end of his stay on earth before the ascension, Jesus gives us the Great Commission. Speaks in Matthew 28. Tells us to make disciples. This is the only imperative, the only command in the Great Commission is the command to make disciples. And this is the singular command that ought to undergird every single thing we do as believers. Everything we do ought to contribute to the making of disciples, and especially corporately as a church. And he tells us how we do that with some participles. He modifies it. How do we make disciples? Well, we do it as we go, or going. We do it as we baptize in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. And lastly, we teach. We teach everything that Jesus has commanded. So how do we make disciples? We go, we baptize, and we teach. Now we're studying through Acts chapter 1, verse 8. We're spending a few minutes on Acts chapter 1, verse 8. Some weeks in my church presently talking about the making of disciples. And what we see is the primary call, Acts chapter 1, verse 8, Jesus prophetically tells us how that is going to happen. He says to the believers, he says, you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you. And he says, you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. This is prophetic. This is not a command. This is Jesus telling us about what's going to happen in the book of Acts. And we see exactly that happen. We see exactly what he says happen in the book of Acts. Jerusalem, that's right where they're at. Where do I make disciples? Right where you are, in Jerusalem. And then I go to Judea, the area around Jerusalem. And then I go to Samaria, the people that I really don't have an affinity for, the people that I'm not naturally having affections for. And lastly, I go to the ends of the earth. This is how the gospel spread around the known world in about 17 years from the day of Pentecost to there being an established church in Rome. And this is the model given to us today about how the gospel is to spread around the world, about making disciples. Jerusalem, right where you're at. And for most of us, that is at home with our children. You see, we got this misunderstanding about what it means to follow Jesus, like we've got to go do some great and wonderful thing. Jesus says you'll do greater works than me if you're a follower of me. Well, am I going to raise people from the dead? Well, Jesus raised people from the dead. Am I going to heal people? Well, Jesus healed people. Am I going to cast out demons? Well, Jesus cast out demons. Those would not be greater works. What is the greater works that Jesus talks about? And that is making disciples of our children. In this way, the gospel message spread around the known world in less than a generation. And this is our call today. This is our mandate to make disciples of our children. And again, there would be a nationwide revival if the believers of this nation would commit to making disciples of their children. And we talked about this last week at The Way, about the imperative of parents to make disciples of their children. So God bless. Think about this. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please forgive my, I think I need a new mount. It's continuously sliding off of my window here, but I wanted to share a word with you. Have a great day and God bless.